Okay, you can start.
Hi, everybody. My name is Marni Abbott, and I am the Executive Director of the BC Wheelchair Basketball Society, and I'm here today to chat with you a little bit about wheelchair basketball. Wheelchair basketball's been very active in the province of BC for many years. We sort of started out in the early 80s, and have now established ourselves as a provincial sport organization offering a variety of programmings across the spectrum of skill levels, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. Basically, wheelchair basketball is a sport. It's a very inclusive sport. We invite able-bodied people, people with disabilities, anybody who's interested really to come and play. We see the wheelchair basically as a piece of sports equipment and invite anybody who's interested to come and pop in a sport chair and try out the sport. Most people who play wheelchair basketball now are people with spinal cord injuries, a lot of people with any kind of lower level minimal disabilities such as knee, hip, ankle injuries, cerebral palsy, polio, amputees, anybody who has any kind of reduced mobility in the lower body could really benefit from playing the sport. You do require quite a bit of upper body strength and some fairly good grip strength in order to push the chair and to play. But really, we really encourage anybody to come out and try and play because we have lots of different levels and we're pretty accessible to anybody who's interested in trying it out. Some of the basic rules of the sport, if any of you are familiar with the stand-up game, the basic rules of wheelchair basketball are literally almost exactly the same. There are a couple of things that are different. In wheelchair basketball, we have no such thing as double dribble, so you can stop and start as many times as you want when you're carrying the ball. We do have a rule for traveling though, so you're only allowed to push twice. So you can take 2 pushes on your wheels, dribble, take 2 more pushes, carry on, take 2 pushes, make a pass or shoot. So as long as you're doing something in between those 2 pushes, that is legally moving around. And then the other rule that we have in wheelchair basketball is what's called the physical advantage rule. And because we have people of varying abilities playing the sport, this rule is implemented to keep people's butts on their seat and their feet on their footrest. So you couldn't sort of stand up a little bit if you had the ability to do that, to catch a ball that was going over your head or something like that. So most people do use strapping in their wheelchair, so that's not so much of an issue as it used to be, but that's just something that new people sometimes have a tendency to forget. And once you get used to the wheelchair, it's something that's not really an issue. We do have a classification system in wheelchair basketball, so each athlete that participates is classified according to their abilities, and it ranges from a class 1 value right up to a 4.5. So for example, me, I'm a T4 SCI complete. I'm a class 1, so I don't have very good balance. I don't have lower abdominal or back muscles. I have to use strapping and sit in a chair that really supports my balance and optimizes my abilities. So starting with a class 1 up to a 4.5, which could be what we call a minimal disability or an able-bodied player. And then the coach has to select 5 players that add up to a total of 14 points is what we play at in the international level. In some of our domestic leagues, it's a little bit higher because there's more able-bodied participation. But depending on the league, it defines the number of points you're allowed on the floor. For example, you could play with 2 4.5 players, 1 class 3 player, and 2 class 1s. In most of our introductory programs and in all of our clubs, we don't really use the classification system. We just really encourage people to get involved and to start playing. And that kind of comes in later when you move into higher levels of competition. We use the same size court with a 10-foot basket, 3-point lines the same. We follow FIBA rules, which are the international rules you would see at the Olympics or any kind of world championships. And everything else is quite standard in terms of the game of basketball. With our organization, BCWBS, we're a smaller provincial sport organization, but we do offer quite a bit of a variety of different types of programming. So I'll talk a little bit more about our clubs and programs in the regions a little bit later. But some of the other stuff that we do, we offer schools and community participation programs. So groups, school districts, schools have the opportunity to call up our office and book a fleet of sport wheelchairs to come to their school or to the event, so people can try it out and have an opportunity to see what a sport chair looks like, get in it, you know, have a real experience, try out the sport, and then see what it's like. So it's a great opportunity in schools to expand the education of students around diversity, equity, disability, adaptive sport, all those great types of things. So it's a really, really great program. With the communities, we do a lot of things kind of like July 1st type events or have a go events and those kinds of things where we're in activations and in areas where people who have probably never been exposed to disability sport have the opportunity to see and try a sport chair. So it's a really great program. We have lots of junior programs throughout the province, and our juniors are kind of 25 and under, 23 and under. A lot of people with disabilities sometimes are developmentally delayed a little bit, and so our range doesn't fit quite in with all the able-bodied sort of ranges. So our junior programs have a bit of a gray area in terms of age, but we really welcome any youth to come and participate in any of our events, camps, or programs. We have a rec league that we run out of the Richmond Oval every Monday night and basically invite anybody to come and try the sport. There's equipment there. It's free for your first time trying. There's lots of people to support you to get involved, and it's a great way to kind of enter into the sport if you're interested in it. Our program called Let's Play is really targeted at kids 14, sort of 12 to 14 years and under. And what it is not so much about wheelchair basketball, but it's more just about physical literacy and helping kids have the correct equipment to be active at school, to participate in PE, to play outside with their peers, do all those kinds of things. So the Let's Play program really provides the opportunity for fundamental skill development and physical literacy. So we really value that program, and it's one of our most important entry-level programs in terms of recruiting and identifying potential athletes to move through the pathway towards that high performance level, which is what our next programs here on the slide show, which is our BC Provincial League, our high performance programs, and our provincial team. So all of that sort of leads down more of a high performance pathway, but we also have that whole recreational side and the kind of lower level of skill requirement and more of a participation based philosophy for our clubs and some of our programs. We do have opportunities for officials, and coaching obviously is a big part of it. And we do provide funding and resources to help coaches and officials develop their skills and get to the level that's required. All of our officials, coaches, and volunteers go through some rigorous screening in terms of vulnerable sector checks, criminal record checks, and we all do safe sport training and have really focused on that in the last year or so within our organization to make sure all of our programs are really safe, inclusive, and allowing people to access what they need in their community as often as possible. So yeah, lots of different ways to get involved. I just mentioned you can come and try it yourself. You can watch games. There's lots of Wheelchair Basketball Canada, which is our national sport organization, has a YouTube channel. There's lots of great games being streamed and shown on there. Coaching and leadership opportunities are available at all levels, whether it's at the Let's Play level, just playing with the little kids, or moving up through the higher levels and becoming more of a higher performance coach. We have opportunities for officials, and we do work a lot with the BC Officials Association to help identify officials that might transition from the able-bodied game into the wheelchair basketball game. Just to kind of grow our base of officials. And we're always looking for volunteers for our events. We do host a couple of key events each year, one of them being our annual Hoop Fest, which we just had last week at the Richmond Oval. We raised over $55,000, which was awesome. We have all kinds of firemen and police teams that enter and come and play wheelchair basketball against each other for the evening. So it's quite awesome. We also need volunteers for our tournaments that are mostly held on weekends, a lot of times out Fraser Valley area, Kamloops, Kelowna, Prince George, Victoria. We always need scorekeepers and people to help with those kinds of events. And any of that can be accessed on our website. We do have a volunteer sign-up sheet in there. So if you are interested at all in that, please feel free to sign up and someone will contact you from our organization. Currently, we have clubs in Prince George, Kamloops, Kelowna, Chilliwack, Abbotsford, Langley, Metro Vancouver, Victoria, Vancouver Island, so Comox, Courtney area, and then around Nanaimo. Some of the clubs have struggled a little bit to come back after COVID, so they're not as thriving as they were prior to that, but we're really helping to kind of build them back up and really kind of focusing on that in the next season. So if you're in any of those areas, or if you're in an area that's not listed there and you're interested in a program, please contact us because we're happy to help start new clubs and we can provide resources and equipment and all those kinds of things in order to help support any kind of new club development. This is our long-term athlete development model. So in the sport world now, everything is really focused on the sort of the stages of development and how you move through that. And one of the things with wheelchair basketball and any kind of adaptive sport, I think, is that we have different entry levels. So we have people who are born with their disabilities and have congenital disabilities that would start in our Active Start program, which would be our Let's Play program. But then we have people like myself, for example, who would be considered what we call a late entry athlete. So I acquired my disability when I was 18 years old. I was in a skiing accident. And so I already had developed a lot of my fundamental movement skills as an able-bodied person. So I played lots of sports growing up. I was a skier, I played ball, played a little bit of basketball. It wasn't really my best sport, and a variety of different sports. So I had all of those sort of basic movement skills and what people might call athleticism. So when I became disabled, I didn't have to learn basic things like catching and throwing. For me, the transition was pretty easy. Once I had the sport wheelchair, I just had to learn the skill of wheeling, and then I could apply all the other skills that I had learned as an able-bodied person sort of in that setting. So that's kind of the difference between adaptive sport and able-bodied sport, is that all athletes don't necessarily go through that development stage like an able-bodied person might go through. So that kind of just shows that. And the thing about Let's Play that's really great is that we're able to refer these kids to appropriate sports for their disability. We have a lot of people in the Let's Play program that not necessarily might not be wheelchair basketball players, but they could participate in bocce. Some of them have gone on to wheelchair rugby or wheelchair tennis or a variety of, just skiing. So just identifying kids through the program and then referring them to the appropriate sport or rec opportunities is a really great sort of offshoot of the Let's Play program. It's really helped families kind of navigate through the system a little bit. So for Let's Play, you can see there that's sport wheelchairs. So they're tiny little sport chairs, some of them as small as 10 inches wide. So having that age appropriate size equipment is really, really important. And that was where we had the big gap. So we would have kids coming to a junior program to start up wheelchair basketball when they were 12 or 13, who had never been in a sport chair, never caught or thrown a ball, had no idea of sort of offense, defense, that transitional type of play. So there was a big gap there. And so this is where we started the Let's Play program in 2010. And we now have over 100 kids who have their own chairs throughout the province. And they're participating in regular programs. They're participating in PE at school. They're helping activate their communities to build accessible playgrounds. It's just been a very positive program in a lot of different areas, not to mention all the great benefits just from the children themselves. So with Let's Play, the kids, we basically allow anybody who's interested in the program to try it. A lot of times the children aren't able to push the chair, so their physio or OT or teacher or parent realizes quite quickly that might not be the sport for them, but we're able to provide the support to refer them to what might be appropriate. And then for those participants that are able to push the chair, they really find a new sort of freedom in movement. Lots of the kids use walkers, some of them are ambulatory, but just being able to sit in a chair and push and have some speed, have your hands available to catch and throw, it just opens up a lot of new doors and allows kids to play in a whole new way, which is really what we want to do, is just inspire that motivation to be physically active. Oh, sorry, I just talked a little bit about that. One of the problems with Let's Play is that a lot of people might think their child might not be appropriate for them because they are ambulatory and they can run around. But the thing is that happens as the kids get older, and when they get to that 14 or 15-year-old stage is when they come to us to play wheelchair basketball, is they haven't developed those wheeling skills along that path. So even we encourage them to play both ways. If you can run around and play when you're 5 or 6, great, but hop in the chair too and work on your wheeling skills, because as you get older, you might not be able to keep up with your peers, or you might be interested in something that involves wheeling, and then you've been able to develop that skill along the way. So basically that's kind of the end of the information that I had. I kind of left quite a bit of time for questions, not knowing if people would have questions or not. Just in this particular slide here, it does show our contact information, so please feel free to contact us on any of those platforms. Our website is a very good source of information. In particular, I would direct you to the calendar page, which literally is updated daily for any new programs or events or activities that are going on. We do have a blog and a bi-weekly newsletter that comes out. We're essentially at the end of our season now, so planning some summer camps and a couple of 3-on-3 summer events. We're doing if you're in the Kamloops area this weekend, there's a jamboree June 1st and 2nd at the TCC. And there will be information on our website if you're interested in registering for that. It'll be a super fun event, open to people who have never tried the sport before. There is equipment there. There's options available. So if you're in that area, definitely go try it out. In August, we will be partnering with our friends from the Vancouver Basketball Foundation, who run an event called Ball for All. And we will have a wheelchair basketball event in that, and that takes place at David Lamb Park in downtown Vancouver. It's super fun outside. There's a DJ, it's bumping, there's music, it's super fun. And then we'll have our junior sport camp in the summer, which is typically around the 2nd week of August. And the dates and information for the junior sport camp, which is a multi-sport camp, and gives participants the opportunity to try a variety of adaptive sports over the week. And just super fun. You get to meet lots of participants that are around the same age as you, try a bunch of different sports, and try a bunch of different equipment too. So I really encourage you, if you've not tried a junior sport camp out, to check that out as well. And that basically kind of wraps up the information that I had to share today. I'm happy to answer any questions, and people can for sure email me directly if they had questions. Or like if you had any other specific ideas about how to get wheelchair basketball in your community, or if you're interested in that, we're happy to have some conversations about it. So please feel free to reach out. And if you do have the opportunity to try it, I definitely encourage you to do it. You'll really enjoy it. It's a really fun sport, and it's a great community to get involved with. Thank you.
Okay, so nice presentation. Actually, it will stay on our channel also, so people can watch it later.
Sorry?
This recording will stay on our channel also, so people can watch it later.
Oh, okay.
There's nobody joined today, so there won't be any questions right now.
Okay.
But if somebody has any question later on, they can just email you. So
Sure.
Yeah, nice. I have played basketball when I was at GF Strong.
Did you? How long ago was that?
No, 20 years ago.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Well, there's lots of programs out your way. Actually,
Mm.
they started one at the Delta Rec Center. That's an introductory program for people. I think it's on Sundays. Pop
So
around. There's
basketball is
chairs there
hard
and
for me.
stuff.
Like
What's
I
that?
can't even throw the ball to the net. So
Oh, you can play like a version of basketball, and you don't always have to score the baskets. You could pass to the person that's scoring.
yeah, that one we can do, but otherwise
Get
it's
out there and wheel a bit and get some exercise.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, no problem. Thank